Gordon Perry bought his Class 7 hill country on the eastern side of the Kaipara Harbour to Auckland's north way back in 1973. 7 years later, he gave up his electrical engineering job in town and moved out there. Gordon did his numbers. Sheep and beef were not going to turn him a decent dollar on that country, so 24 years ago he decided on trees instead, joined the Farm Foresters Association and got the bug. After his sheep and beef venture failed, he'd got a comfortable, stable income selling veterinary products for local practices, so why did he decide to plant trees?
Well, that came about with one area of repastured from scrub that failed. It went back into a native plant that was very difficult to deal with, and I decided to simply plant it in pine trees. I had no thought of the timber industry. It was a solution on the day. And it was shortly after that that Marcus Still, one of the foundation members of Farm Forestry, introduced me to the association, and I never looked back.
Why was that?
Knowledge, and realising that forestry definitely had a place. Of course, we were further encouraged by the spike of '93, but we have to get real that these spikes are few and far between. But nevertheless, on this Class 7 country, the trees will be the winners over sheep and beef.
In the mid-80s, when his trees began to march across the hillsides, there was no serious talk of global warming or an emissions trading scheme. Gordon Perry's thoughts were of selling logs for timber, not of gaining carbon credits. So he's looking at a nice little windfall from his carbon-eating trees under the ETS, the emissions trading scheme.
We had no idea what form we would find ourselves in, and of course it is the emissions trading scheme. It's on the books, it is law. We now need to get our heads around it and work it to our advantage. Each individual needs to assess his position.
Any idea yet, having done some numbers I guess, what sort of income you might make in carbon credits from, say, a hectare of pine?
I don't really know. It would be 40 plus thousand.
40,000
plus
per
year.
Per year, right. Okay. Well, that's a reasonably comfortable sort of income, isn't it?
Yes, one could buy one's wine and enjoy the odd bit of travel.
Yeah. You'd think there might be not a few farmers with smiles on their faces after waiting all those years for their trees to grow so they can now sell their carbon credits. So are they smiling?
Yes.
Right. Is that the feedback you get?
No, some are still very sceptical.
Why?
I believe it's probably knowledge, lack of, and credit to the Canterbury University Roadshow. It's a difficult and complicated piece of legislation, but on balance, I think one would be foolish not to take some advantage of it. I say some because the variability of claim is still available to the operator.
Right. Because he planted the vast bulk of his 100 hectares after 1989, from 91 to 96, Gordon will do well from carbon credits. The rest of his total of 140 hectares comprises 18 hectares of QE2 covenanted areas of wetland and a magnificent stand of kauri and other native bush. The kauri is the result of regeneration after the slaughter of mature kauri a century and more ago for the nation's early housing stock. Gordon Perry says planting commercial forest on a farm is not something to be undertaken lightly, and it's essential to join the Farm Forestry Association for good advice on the many challenges. Would you expect that you would get a better return from selling timber off this land than you would have had you kept it in beef and lamb for the last 25 years?
Yes.
Right. So what makes you so certain of that?
Only on evidence coming from other farm foresters who have provided their harvesting data, and the money that's been generated per year over the life of the trees is greater than the sheep and beef would have. However, they've had to wait. There's been no income in the meanwhile.
So would he advise farmers with marginal land to start planting trees?
Yes, but do their homework, gather their information first, because they have to be convinced. No point doubting it after they've started. But the way the sheep and beef industry is, honestly, it's gone nowhere.
So after a 25-year wait for his trees to reach maturity, when is Gordon going to start reaping his harvest?
Very soon. Thanks for China coming in, and let's hope our currency behaves itself. May well be the summer of 2011.
It's been a long wait, and not only can Gordon Perry look forward to the money he'll receive for his logs, there's that income from those newfangled carbon credits.